Hello and welcome back to the channel. So you're probably wondering why there is not a picture of a model on the thumbnail, that there's a 100 crossed out and 104 put on there. Well, it goes like this. My son and I were talking the other week and he asked me how many models I'd reviewed since I started doing the channel, and to be honest with you, I really didn't have a clue. So I counted them up and I realised that the J36 that I was doing was the 99th model. So I thought, aha, we need a real special one for the 100th. And then I did the special model, which we will get to in a minute. And then I thought, you know what, I'm just going to check. And it actually turns out that this actually is the 104th model. But it's a special one, so I'm going with that for the moment. So this is a model, I must admit, I've never done anything quite like this before. This is something quite special. And here we go. A model train. Oh, is that not what you're after? Not what you're expecting? Oh, I see. Okay. Well, it is a German train from World War II. Okay. Well, how about if I show you what it's towing? Because I don't think you can argue too much with this. That's one hell of a cannon. That is, as you can probably read on there, the Leopold. So we're going to go to the usual format. We're going to have 60-second speed build. We're going to have a few more pics than usual because I've really got two models here, and then we're going to go to the review. So let's crack on and build. So welcome back. Right, so who's this by? Well, this is Orange. Now, I've only ever done warships from them before. I did a Bismarck and a Missouri. Up there, you can't see it now because I've had to angle the camera down quite considerably so that we can get this in. Obviously it's not like a usual model. I mean, this thing's pretty big. It's on tracks that come with it. The tracks are already sort of pre-built in sections and you just slot those together. But basically it's about 120 centimetres or 4 foot length. So bear that in mind if you go for this, because obviously you do need quite a lot of shelf space for this. So the instructions. Well, I couldn't remember what the instructions were like from the previous models of Orange, but I have to say this isn't bad at all. You don't get any extras in here, you don't get any history or anything like that, but it's laid out very nicely. Most of the sections are of relatively few bricks, apart from where you're doing things like the wheels, so you know, a lot of multiples of one particular type, but otherwise there's rarely more than 5 or 6 different types of bricks in each section, so you do actually rattle through them relatively quickly. Now the set came in 6 bags, or six bags with bags within those. 2 of which were for the engine, 2 of which were for the main body and the gun of the artillery piece, and then 1 bag each roughly for the sort of the 2 bogeys at each end that the artillery the gun sits on. And everything lined up beautifully with the instructions, and there was nothing missing, there was no warpage and no discoloration. Some of the bricks I found were a little tricky to fit. Some of them you did need quite a bit of force to actually get them to lock in properly. However, this the person who's designed this has done a beautiful job with it, because with the exception of the 2 joints where the bogeys join the main piece, I'll start moving stuff around in a minute when I get to the main review. Apart from those 2 bits, it's not really fragile at all, which for something this size is, well, that's fantastic. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the train and then we'll go on to the artillery piece itself. Now, I've never done a train before, and I have to say, I thought this was fantastic. Now, I've got nothing to compare it to, admittedly, so some of you that have done probably some trains out there, you'll have to tell me what this is like. I mean, yes, the red is a bit bright. It does look like it's just sort of come out of the showroom at Croup or something like that. But the level of detail here is fantastic. If I take the lid off, you've got your 2 men in the driver and his, I don't know what the driver's mate's called. We'll call him the driver's mate. With your little hatch for the boiler. This part does come off. Oh yeah, here we go. And inside there you've got a coal bunk, you've got coal. If you lift that out, which I'm not going to do because you won't be able to see it anyway, there are actually 2 little flames in there, and so the level of detail is great. And it was such a surprise that it was so easy to build. I was really impressed with this. I mean, I don't know how much, I'll have to look up, but I don't know how much a train actually costs, but it certainly looks, to my eyes anyway, pretty much the business. Now, about the only real complaint that I have in this whole model though is to do with the scale between the train and the artillery piece, because as far as I can see, the minifigures, they appear to be about the right size for the scale of this. However, when you look at the original photographs of the artillery piece with real people stood on them, then there is a scale difference there. This should in fact actually be even bigger than it actually is. So let me just whack the train over here to some. But yeah, that train, lovely to build, really nice to build. You move through it at a rate of knots, and yeah, it was great. So right, and yes, this does run on the track. Actually, I'll talk about the track for a second. Now, the track comes in ready-made pieces. Let's ping something off the floor, like so, that just push on. There's a male side and a female side that are just pushed on, and the opposite each way to the track that you are about to attach it to. I have no idea whether this is a standard size or standard fitment for Lego or train type of tracks. If it is, then potentially you could add this in if you have other tracks to make something bigger. And it would have been nice actually in the engine, and I think with a little bit of jiggery pokery, you could probably get a motor in there relatively easily, and a battery pack. I think there's enough room there. You should be able to do that and disguise it a little bit. So potentially, if you have a whole load of this already and you have it set up, there's no reason why you couldn't get this thing running. You do get a little nameplate that's that's attached to the track. I attached it to the wrong side as far as this video is concerned, but there we go. Just be a little careful that when that's on there, it will knock into some of the things that are on the. Let me just bring this way a bit. Let's take off the bogeys. So some of these bits along the side, it will run into it. So on to the artillery piece itself. Now, the first thing that grabs you, obviously, is the size of the thing. Now, I've separated it off from the two bogeys just to make life slightly easier. Obviously, they're not designed to they're designed to be sat on, not be hanging off from. So, basically, you all want to know is, does the gun move? And yes, it does. This is the little wheel on the side here. You've got a little travelling cradle at the front, and then obviously turn it the other way for elevation. Now there is a little flap at the back here. Just be aware of it being there, and that if you're going to be moving the gun, you need to make sure that flap is out of the way, because otherwise the gun will hit that and will pull itself apart on the mechanism, which is never good. And one of the nice things about this model I found was that you had 6 bags in the actual construction set with multiple bags within those bags. Essentially, you had 2 for the train, you had 2 for this part, the artillery piece itself and the barrel, and then you had 1 each for the 2 bogeys, which I thought worked out actually really quite well. You certainly knew from the get-go what part you were doing, which yeah, it was great. There's just lots of nice little details all the way through here. Obviously you've got the steps, it's fantastic, but it's not drowning in details, which you sometimes get with some of the larger models, and 12 Go can be a little bit guilty of that, and so can some of the others as well. But just because it's a larger model doesn't mean they don't need to micromanage all the details. You've got the shells at the back here with a little sort of semi-crane loader type of thing. I think that they should be ever so slightly big, but I understand why they do them there, so that's no big deal. This is, apart from the few bits and pieces that are hanging off the side, where you would expect them to be a little bit fragile, this is really not at all. It's very good. It's very well thought out. I've got no real complaints here in the slightest. It's a very, very good piece. So let's just move on very quickly to the bogeys. Just pop them down. The front one is the lesser of the 2, and funny enough, that's the last one you do. It's fairly plain and book standard. This is another thing that not annoyed me, but certainly made me realise that this is out of scale, because this should be essentially the command post or command bunker or whatever you want to call it of the gun itself. So you should have a plotting room in there where everything was done, so to where the shells are going to land. And compared with, grab a random minifigure here, I mean that should, as you can tell, that is way too small. That should be able to fit 3 or 4 men in there at least. Again, just shows that this is ever so slightly outscale with the train. But having said that, this is still not a bad little piece. Nice little addition of the crane there. Now, if you did get this, I would certainly suggest that certainly one thing I found was that the wheels on these bogies, they need to be as close in as absolutely possible to get on the track, and I would certainly make sure that the thing moves before you even think about putting the artillery piece on. The front one's a lot easier because you can see all the wheels. There we go, that one's nicely on there. And then it really just is a case of just popping this on here. It's a lot easier to do the front because you can see it. There we go, that one's in. The back is slightly trickier because you go over the top of it, but again, relatively easy. And then you're away. It's really that simple. And right, so how much was this? This was £37.44, which is certainly not the cheapest model that I bought, but not the most expensive either. And overall, I would have to say that this is absolutely excellent. It's definitely, I think, a treat model. I mean, I do quite a lot of the cheapest, more pocket money models because that seems to be what a lot of people are after. But every once in a while, it's nice to do something that is a little bit bigger, a little bit more expensive, because, well, we all have birthdays and special events around the year where we are liable to get a present, and this is a good one to drop a hint for. I think this is a lot of fun to build. It was very clear, very concise on the instructions. As I said throughout this, it's not perfect. There are a couple of slight issues or perhaps improvements, but they are relatively minor in the grand scheme of things. And yeah, I can't recommend this enough, really. I suppose one of the other things is that the gun barrel itself, although there are a number of supports going through here, it can get a little banana-like. So you will end up every couple of days or something when you see it just straightening it out a little bit. But it's all very minor, really, and in the grand scheme of things, this is a really, really good model. Thoroughly enjoyed building it. I thoroughly enjoyed not just the execution, but the results at the end of this, and I can't recommend this enough. It was a lot of fun. So there we go. That is the review of the Farange K5 Leopard. Oh, not Leopard. I've been calling it a Leopard or a Leopold. My mistake, I apologise, it's the Leopold. Whoops. Yeah, that should have been the 100th model that I reviewed, but it turned out to be the 104th. There we go. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. If you have, please like and subscribe to the channel. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but we are very close to 500 subscribers. And if we hit 500 subscribers, or when we hit it, hopefully, I will throw in another giveaway competition. So, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, just press that button, please. And I will catch you again. So, you take care. Bye-bye.